hope you boys and girls will go outside and take a peek at the moon all during the month of October. You can see it starting October 1st as a full moon, and you can watch it change from phase to phase. There is a second full moon in October, and it's kind of on an exciting day, so I challenge you to look it up for yourselves and see if you can figure out when the second full moon of October is in 2020. Now, to encourage you to be lunar scientists, I thought that you might like to learn how to use Google Slides to make a moon journal. So I'm going to go through a quick Google Slides tutorial, and hopefully you can follow along. Now, the first thing I'd like to do is go to Self-Service and download the Google Slides app from Self-Service. I like to cheat and always go to this search button here at the bottom right and type in the name of the app that I'm looking for. And you can see Google Slides right there on the top right, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit install. I wait for it to download. Now I'm going to open the app. And I want to sign in with my Ridley credentials. So this will be the same as your Google Meet login. Now you can see here I've done a number of presentations. So I'd like to show you how to create a moon journal, just like this one, in your Google Slides app. First thing we want to look for is this rainbow plus button at the bottom right hand of your screen. Can you see it here? When I hit that, it will ask me if I want to choose template or do a new presentation. And I want a new presentation. And I'm going to call it My Moon Journal. Now I have a Google slide ready to edit. And I'm going to get rid of these pre-existing text boxes by clicking on them. And then when these options appear, the 1, 2, 3, 4th option is delete. So I'm going to delete that. And that's helpful for you to know in case you make any mistakes and you want to delete them. So now I have a blank slide. The first thing I'd like to do is change the background of my slide. And I'm going to do that by adding a shape that takes up the entire background. This plus button is where we're going to be doing the majority of our work. So I'm going to press that. I'm going to choose shape, and I'm going to choose the first shape, which is a square. Now I can take my finger and pull out the shape. All right, that didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. It moved the shape to the corner. That's okay. Now I'm going to use my finger to pull the shape all the way across my slide, edge to edge. And now I want to use this paint bucket tool. Do you see it there? I want to choose a color for the background of my slide. Black looks really cool for a nighttime sky, but you could also use a deep shade of purple. And if you want to get very fancy, move from solid to this word gradient. Gradient will give you options that radiate a second color within your background. So let's look at this purple here that's lighter in the middle and then darkens around the outside. I think that's kind of cool. The sky kind of does that sometimes. You might think you want to choose this A, but first we want to choose the plus and choose text box. This way we can decide exactly where we want our text to go. Now, by default, it goes in the middle here, and you can type in My Moon Journal. Now I see a number of things that I want to change. Number one, I want to make my text box a little smaller. I'm making my text box a bit skinnier, and then I'm going to press the middle of it to move it around. I like to move it in this upper corner here. But the words are very small and a little too dark to be read. Let's change that. To change the color of the text inside the text box, I'm going to go to the left-hand side here and press this A with the black color box underneath. That gives me a lot of options for colors. I'm going to choose a color that's going to stand out against the dark background. White would certainly stand out, but I might like yellow. Now, I don't particularly like the size or the letter type that it is now. I'm going to change it by going to this A on the right-hand side. And here you will see options to change the font. And font is the word that means the type of typeface that you see. Right now it defaults to a typeface called Arial. If I press that side arrow, I get a number of different options. So I'm scrolling through to see what letter style fits my personality or fits the subject matter, what kind of looks like a space journal to me. Let's see. I want something big and bold. I like this called Walter Turncoat, but I'd like it to be bigger. So I'm going to go from font to size, and I'm just going to click up and watch the size of my words change until I like it. Look what happens if I go too far. If I go too far, it makes a second line. I don't necessarily want that, but I might pull the side of my text box over so that it fits. What do you guys think? The next thing I'd like to do is give myself a space to write about the moon. So that's going to be another text box. So I hit that plus again, choose a text box, only this time I'd like it to be more to the right side, and I'm going to change the shape to a square. So I'm going to pull this side of the rectangle in until it's closer to a square, and then pull it down to the size that I like. I would like this section to stand out from the background, so I'm going to change its background color by going to this fill button here. And I think I would like it to be gray. No, maybe blue. And to make it pop a little bit more, I'm going to change the border of my text box. So I'm going to choose the very last button on the top line here, and that indicates border style. So I would like it to be a thicker size, so I'm going to press up. I've taken it all the way to 10. Then maybe I would like it to not be a solid line, but a dashed line. So I'm going to choose one of these dashes. I like this one. No, maybe I like this one. That makes it look like a coupon. Let's try just plain old dots. I kind of like that. Now I can play with the size, make it bigger or smaller, but for now I'm going to leave it this size. Now I'd very much like to have a moon picture in my journal. So here I'm going to leave Google Slides just a moment by clicking my home button. Now I'm going to open up Safari. I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to type in the word harvest moon. images. Oh, apparently Harvest Moon is a video game. Okay. Let's be more specific. Harvest Moon, October 2020. Here's some great images of moons. I'm going to find one that I like for my slide. This one has wheat in the background. That makes me think of the harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and tap this image right in the middle. And sometimes this is tricky, friends, so we're going to try again. There we go. Then I'm going to save the image. I'm then going to press my home button. Twice and choose to go back to my Google slide. Now I'm going to press the plus sign, go to images, look at my photos, and there is my Harvest Moon image. I'm going to scale that down by touching this corner and pulling it right down till it's the size that I like, right here. Now let's talk about your journaling. A journal is anything that you want to reflect on or write about. If you're creating a star watching or a sky watching journal, what you'll want to record is what you see in the sky that night. So I would like to write inside my text box. I'm going to click inside. I'm going to make sure that I center align this portion. I like the way that looks. Let me see if you can see that. So instead of a left align, I'm going to choose this center align option there. Then I'm going to pick my font for my journaling. It doesn't have to be the same font as your title. So again, I'll go to the A with all the lines by it and look for a font that I would like to journal in. I kind of like the idea of it looking like handwriting. So this one, Covered by Your Grace, is kind of cute. I'm going to go back and maybe increase the font size to 18 and see how I like that. I'm going to start with the date. So let's imagine that I'm journaling on October 1st, 2020. Then I'll hit return. And then here's where I will write what I saw in the sky. So I could say that section, I might want to choose to illustrate what a full moon looks like. So I'm going to insert a shape. So I'll go to my plus sign, scroll to shapes, and of course a full moon is a circle, and you'll see a circle right there. You can choose that. You can pull it down where you'd like by touching the center. You could increase the size, but be careful not to make it an oval because the moon is a circle. But let's say you want to journal a different night and the moon looks a little different. Let's erase our full moon by hitting delete. Let's go to our shapes and just see how many options we have. As I scroll past the triangles, I actually see a moon shape. So I'm going to choose it. I'm going to bring it down. Now, this is really neat. If you see this yellow diamond in the center of the moon and pull on it, you can make it a sliver of a moon all the way to a crescent moon, and you can get almost to a half moon. Now, what if we want a half moon? What I'd like to find is a semicircle. But strangely enough, I do not see a semicircle in the shape options. Let me find the closest shape to a semicircle I can find. So this shape doesn't quite look like a semicircle, but I can see it's got those yellow triangles that let me know I can adjust it. So let's take this bottom triangle and pull it all the way until we get a half circle. Check that out. So if you wanted to create a moon journal through the entire month and record the moon at its different phases, you can certainly do that. So I'm going to delete this and get our circle back. Pull it out to the size that I like. And what was also kind of cool, I happened to notice this while I was in there, there were some clouds. Sometimes we can't see the moon because it's cloudy. So we can take that cloud and move it. Let's say it was partly cloudy, you can cover the moon a little bit. Or if it was a full moon, but you just want some clouds as decorations, you can move them there. If I want a second one, I can touch it again until it says cut, copy, paste. Let's choose copy. Now press into the blank space next to the moon until you see those options again and hit paste. Now I have a second moon just like it, but I can pull it over here. I can change the size, and this button that sticks out at the top actually lets me, again, you have to be patient sometimes, rotate, or I can flip it upside down so that it looks a little different. That is pretty cool. You can choose to add a selfie if you like. So I think you guys mostly know how to take a selfie with the camera button. So go through and find your selfie. And you can add it to your journal. I would prefer mine to be quite small. There we go. Now I'm a part of my moon journal. Let's say we want to make a journal tomorrow night, but we don't want to go through all the steps of recreating this slide. I'm going to choose this new slide button all the way at the bottom. I click there, scroll down until I see a blank slide. Now, my first slide is on top and my second slide is on bottom. I am going to watch this, friends. I want to select all the elements of my Google slide. So I'm going to touch outside of the top of my slide with my finger, and I'm going to drag my finger until this blue box touches every piece of my slide. And if you look, now they're all highlighted. And then I look here, and you see a pair of scissors. That is a shortcut for if I wanted to cut these, but that would take them all away. That's not what I want. I want to go to these two pieces of paper that look just like one another. That is a shortcut for copy. Choose copy. Now click on my second slide, touch on the inside, and choose paste. Now I can change the date to October 2nd. Change the text to describe the moon that I see that night. I'll just put a ... because that's in the future. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'll have to delete the clouds because it wasn't cloudy at all. Maybe it was raining and I'll need a whole cloud to cover that moon. And if you really like your slide, I encourage you to hit the play button, present on this device, and take a photo shot of it. If you don't know, you can take a photo screenshot by holding the on-off button and the home button at the same time. Let's see if I've got it right. So as soon as I released those two buttons, it took a screenshot. Now, I've got this great photo of my slide and I can share it with my friends. I can make it my background of my iPad, whatever you like. So I really invite you, friends, to be sky watchers this month. Check out the moon, especially the 2 full moons in the month of October. And as always, friends, happy reading.